All right, fellas. So today I have none other than Mr. Scott A. Arkills in the building, and also Assembly Duy Nguyen here. And I got rapid fire questions for y'all. So before we jump into the episode on today, three questions. Say what you hear first that comes to mind, and then we'll go from there. All right. So coffee or tea? Are we coffee or tea people?
Coffee.
Coffee.
Chai tea.
Chai tea. All right. All right. What about Starbucks or Dutch Bros?
Oh, wow. A couple of my interns will disown me after this comment, but Starbucks.
All right.
Because it's got the green background on here. I'm gonna go with Dutch Brothers because
Okay.
it's just it's now a favorite for my
Okay.
so,
I like
very
both.
West Coast.
And last question. Favorite local place for coffee or tea?
Well, this is easy for me because I am a small business owner, so I truly enjoy patronizing the small businesses in my district. So that's where I get to meet with constituent as well as advocates for different issues. So if you ever get to schedule a meeting with me, you will see a bunch of choices of mostly coffee houses in my district. But there's one place that I frequent a lot. It's called Tous les Jours, and it's a French bakery with a Korean influence.
Nice.
So you'll see a couple of bakery items in there that not normally seen in the regular French bakery, but they are actually were introduced to me when I first got elected in 2022, and that's where I hold most of my meetings. So you will have, if you go there, and it's on Rainbow and Windmill, if you ever go there, please try my favorite drink, which is the lavender macchiato.
Okay.
Good.
I like it. Scott?
I'm gonna go to his place there. That's my new favorite. There's a neighborhood one up by Bishop Gorman. It's called Alchemy, and it's really good, a good place too. And I think they just opened up a smaller one. It was a pizza joint before that, and so you probably get the taste of the pizza with the coffee too. No, I'm just kidding.
Okay.
But no, Alchemy's it's pretty good. So
I love it. I love it. Well, y'all didn't ask me, but I'm gonna go ahead and say tea. We'll say Starbucks, and then Urban Matcha. So shout out to y'all too. So thank you, fellas. I appreciate your honesty and your just letting us know what you like. And you know what? Let's get into it now. What's going on, y'all? Welcome to the Financial Seeds Podcast, where we believe that financial freedom is built one conversation at a time. I'm your host, Dre Westbrook, and every week we are here to empower families to go from striving to thriving by having smart, practical money talks. Today's episode is a special one, and as you can see, there's just not one guest. I got two guests in the house with me where we're going to have a real conversation, not just about money, but we are going to be talking about the future of Vegas, the future of our state, Nevada, and that comes with families, parents, communities. So we're going to have a real intimate conversation that just doesn't talk all about dollars and cents. It talks about community. It talks about the heart. And I think, two of the best people in Vegas, the state, the planet, that are really going to help us walk through what our state will look like in the future when we're talking about financial literacy, when we're talking about financial wellness, and we are talking about people. So I'm going to introduce someone that I know very, very well, Mr. Scott A. Arkills, the namesake of the Scott A. Arkills production studio, as well a very special guest, Duy Nguyen. I mean, assemblyman, businessman, a nonprofit leader, and a father, a husband, all kind of different things that we'll get into. So, gentlemen, welcome to the podcast. How are you doing today?
Living the dream.
I love it. I love it. So I'm going to kick it to you, Uwe. Can you please tell us a little bit about yourself before we jump into the discussion on the day?
Sure, absolutely. And just to make the rest of it more consistent, how you say my name is Yui. So think of me when you do a U-turn,
U-turn. I like it.
right?
Yes.
So the D is silent, Yui. Well, I am, first of all, very, very glad to be here talking about very, very passionate topic of mine. Everything I do around these days is based on financial literacy. But that start from my beginning as an immigrant to this country. I came to the United States when I was 11, and as a child coming into the United States, you are learning everything from scratch. You're learning everything all over again, even though I came at 11 years old. And as a typical immigrant, you were told to just keep your head down
Hmm.
and do the work, become a doctor, become a lawyer, become an engineer. Those three typical professions that most of the Asian American community identifies with. Well, apparently I did not listen to that very well. I did not choose any of those options, and I chose my own path, which is till this day. I explained that to my parents, and I'm in my late 40s, and they still don't understand what it is that I do. Nonprofit, the term doesn't translate to anything Vietnamese that
Right.
people can understand. So that's a whole different conversation. But, growing up, coming into Nevada 22 years ago, I learned that our community, and when I say our community, overall, our educational level has a lot of gaps. And the things that I do and the work that I get to do every day is to truly bring people to the basic level, the
Hmm.
common sense, which we all need. As technologies and innovation are moving so fast, we still need to make sure that everybody, doesn't matter your background, your walks of life, whether you're rich, poor, whether you're educated or uneducated, that you have the basics. And if everyone has the basic, then they have the ability to thrive, like you said earlier.
Hmm.
So I'm very uh, passionate about the topic, but my background as a small business owner and as a employer, I learned to make very hard decisions earlier on, and I want everyone around me, whether you're just meeting me for the first time or we've known each other for years, that everyone is equipped with this basic financial literacy so that they can continue to be independent and be a great contributor to our community. So that's a little bit about me. I'm also a father of two young children in Clark County Public School. And recently, in the last year or so, we just also adopted two more fur babies. So our
Love
house is very crowded,
it.
always having something going on.
I love it. I love it. Well, Yui, I really appreciate you being here, for taking the time out of your busy schedule and chopping it up with us today. All right. Now, I think we all know a lot about Scott. This is, you're no stranger to this. As I said, this is essentially your namesake for the studio. So, for those, if this is your very first time meeting Scott A. Arkills, tell us a little bit about yourself and what you do here at the credit union.
So I'm president and CEO of Silver State Schools Credit Union, and I've been in that position for the last 10 years. So I've been in financial services for 43 years now, and started my career with GMAC, and this is my fourth credit union. I kind of split my career, 24 years, 25 years in banking, believe it or not, and then the last 18 and 19, and it'll be 20 next year, in non-for-profit credit unions. So it's been a great ride both ways. I feel like we're on the positive side because we get to talk about things like financial literacy.
Oh, yeah.
That's near and dear to our hearts. So.
I love it. I love it. Well, again, thank you, gentlemen, for being here. And let's get into it. So I want us to start here. I know we're talking about the importance of financial literacy and how it's just not for the students, right? This is like a family thing. So, Yui, I want to start with you. So from your perspective, what real world financial challenges do you feel young people are facing today?
Well, I think the biggest challenge that I see is talking to my 12-year-old, soon to be 13, is the concept of understand how money works.
Mhm.
And I think right now, with all of our young people technology is a common thing. Everybody have a phone.
Yep.
Everybody know how to access a device, a computer, iPad. You name it. All of our kids go to school with a laptop, so the information is right in front of them.
Mm-hmm.
But there's a lot of it, right?
Yeah.
There's so much of it, and you have to sift through whether it's correct information or incorrect information.
Mm-hmm.
And having that conversation daily with him teaches me on we have a lot of work to do in terms of providing the information at an early stage of their education.
Yeah.
And I think that's the biggest challenge is to know what is the right information at the right time.
Mm-hmm.
And, whether you're a 5-year-old or you're 85-year-old, at some point money is touching you every single day.
Yep.
And how you manage that and how you learn it could manage you, that's also another concept that people needs to grasp because you can get into trouble really quickly
Oh yeah.
in the split second because now financial tools are right on the tip of our finger,
Yep.
right? In the old days, you have to have a bank card or you need to have a check
Yeah.
or you need to have a cash to conduct transaction. Now you can just click open your phone and within seconds you
Yeah.
can make a large purchase.
Yep.
And that is scary because you have to understand what is it that you're doing because lives can flash before your eyes as you know it
Yeah.
because of those quick decision making. So I am concerned about the access as well.
Mm-hmm.
And I want to make sure that we put all the guardrails in place, like financial literacy, as early as we can so that our everyday Nevadans have that basic so that they can make informed decisions for themselves. So, and it starts right at school.
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't have to wait until you're 18 years and learn how to sign your life away.
Yeah.
It start right now when they're in school and learning about the basic life skills.
I love it. We talk about that all the time here on the podcast where this is a family thing. I love that you said you don't have to wait till essentially you're an adult. Like if you're 5, there's a financial literacy lesson at 5. If you are 12, 16, 21, or 50, we are all students, lifelong learners for this financial literacy stuff. So Scott, I want to kick it to you now.
Sure.
Why has financial literacy become such an important focus here at Silver State Schools Credit Union?
Yeah, and I like to call it a rallying cry, and I agree with Assemblyman Nguyen. I have to tell you, it's a rallying cry because we look at financial literacy as the path to financial wellness, and that's really what we're all after is making sure that we all live a better life and that we get to that point. And so for us to again, and I think this was mentioned, this is not just about students. It's about teachers or educators who aren't all financial literate either. We all assume that they are, but they sometimes need to brush up on some of these courses, especially when it comes to the financial aspects of things. And then the parents are going to teach the kids at home. And Assemblyman, when you were talking about what you teach your children at home too, and this is not unlike that. And I agree, it's for all ages. It really starts early on. I think one of the earliest lessons I taught when we started doing the financial literacy seminars was compounded interest to a group of first graders, and they got it. They understood what it was. I used the marshmallow game to show them, it's exactly what compounded interest meant, and they got it. And so it's a fun thing to make sure that they understand the importance of it, really.
Yes, and both of you are talking about how our world can move forward with financial literacy as young as kindergarten and with your family. Let's talk about if we don't take it serious, if we don't teach as early as 5, what happens when students perhaps leave school without this valuable financial information?
Well, I like to use this cautionary tale often and talk about me, right? Because people's like, well, how can you make laws that you have no idea what it is in terms of living it, right? You have not had to live that experience. How do you know to make the law that everyone can benefit from? So I talk about this a lot, and it also kind of put you at a pause for a second when you think about it. So this year will be my 30th high school reunion,
Awesome.
and I'm still paying for my student loan. And I think that is the biggest financial cul-de-sac that anyone can put themselves in if you are not aware, because of that small amount loan that I took to complete my education. I'm still paying for it 30 years later,
Yeah.
right? It seems like the balance never goes away. And I think the excitement of an immigrant kid getting out of high school, getting accepted to college, you have no choice but to go, right?
Yeah.
But then that price tag that goes along with it, and the student loan package that the school sent to you and says, yeah, it costs, back then $12,000 to go to school for that year, and these are the student aid that you get for $12,000. Well, you're like, oh yay, I get the money. Balance is zero. Don't have to worry about it. But that promissory notes that every young student sign come with so many fine prints that no one reads them. And even if you read them, you don't have a choice to decline that, right?
Yeah.
You must sign that for you to be able to get that money. And you don't even see the money. You sign it, the school gets it, and boom, you just accumulate, right? And talk
Yep.
about that compound interest that Scott talked about. It's so critical that we teach them at that stage, like, hey, before you sign this, listen, it may be $12,000 now, but by the time you're done with it, it's not $12,000 anymore.
Yeah.
And those are the things that everybody needs to know, whether you're the student that's going to college or the parent who has that student that's going to college. We need to bring everyone into that conversation of what does this mean? Like, yes, this is a value, and you're going to school to get your education that you can have a better future. But just so you know, the first thing you do when you graduate that school is you go pay that loan back right away.
Oh, yeah.
Do it in larger increment. Don't do the minimum, because like me, 30 years later, you're still paying for it.
Yeah.
And so I think that is something that is very sobering, because the amount of interest that I pay for the last 30 years, plus the principal, you can buy a couple houses with that.
Yeah.
Right?
Easy.
And I think that's something that we need to learn how to have everyone understand the cost of what you're getting into. Because, right in the front, everybody's just so excited, and you get lost in that excitement.
Yep.
And then reality kicks in, and you're like, oh, wait, why did I do that? Right? And so we have to use this as a cautionary tale, is because there are, young people who make decision that says, hey, you know what? I'm actually going to wait for a bit. I'll take a gap year. I'll
Yep.
go to work to earn money, or I'll find an employer that will pay my tuition. I will, go and have a job while I go to school, so that I don't have to take out loans, right? But not everybody can go into that route, because you need someone to guide you there, right? And as much as we want to ask our educator to educate about all of this, they have so many things that they have to worry about.
Oh, yeah.
This is only a fraction of it. And that is why it's important that we partner with, institution like this credit union and many other financial institutions out there to walk alongside with us. Because, it's important that when they have a relationship like this at the beginning, at their earlier on in their life, then that will build brand loyalty for the rest of them, right? I'm a huge fan of credit union. I have had a credit union account since I was 16 until now. So credit union is always a huge part of my life, and they are so good at making sure that that conversation about the financial education is there. And I'm so glad to, kind of combine it with the legislation that I get to do now.
Awesome. Thank you for sharing that story. A lot of people, that story might hit home for you. I'm someone that didn't have that financial literacy background either, taking out all those loans, and then you graduate and it's like, yo, what is this, man? Like, I could barely afford, to rent, but I have to pay this back and all of this stuff. So this is why, you should understand that this financial literacy thing is preparing you for life. We always talk about, yeah, it's great to have, book smarts, if you will, even street smarts, but you really need to be financial literate so you can understand how to move and navigate through life. So I want to kind of segue us to our next segment, really talking about, I guess, the future and how we are building Vegas and Nevada. So, Scott, I want to go to you. Speaking about partnerships,
Right.
how do partnerships create stronger outcomes for students, in your opinion?
Yeah, and I'm glad you asked that question. Dre, it's from our perspective, without our partners that we have, even quite frankly, the legislature instituting financial literacy courses in this last session was a really, really important ad, and that's a partnership. We look at that as partnerships, but we give teacher giveaways on a monthly basis. A couple of them, actually, 4 of them on a monthly basis, because we believe in rewarding the teachers for the work that they do. They are our partners in making sure that these students really get to the next point in their life, and and often we talk with these, and some of them are very, very young teachers too, very young educators that are teaching great courses to these classes, and so we always say it takes a village, to really win in this game, and it's the game of life, to be honest with you, is making sure that everybody succeeds and makes it in life, and so it's the partners. We never think it's just us that can do this. If we have the legislature, we have the governor behind us, if we have the classrooms and students and some of our community partners too. That's what makes it, because everybody's pushing the right direction, and I think we're blessed in Nevada to have everybody standing behind financial literacy so strong, because that's making the difference, and without those partners, we're lost.
Yes, I totally agree. Essentially, everybody has a role. So we talk about the institutions, we talk about the families, the communities, the government. And I really want to bring something up that you talked about, how it's like, teachers, they got a lot to do, right? We're in the classrooms almost every single week. And just being a teacher alone is enough. But then you bring this financial literacy thing in. What do you feel is their role as a teacher, and perhaps a community person or such as yourself, for financial literacy? If the teacher is already overwhelmed with just their work, what do you see their role is to maybe give some type of financial literacy wisdom or guidance as a teacher?
Well, I think they need a lot of support for sure. And I believe that, institution like the Silver State here is a tremendous asset to them, as kind of like a lifeline, right? Because every day they're expected to teach these young minds things that they are able to learn and keep learning and use those skills to survive in the real world. And so with partnership like financial institution who comes into the school to give that training to the teacher, to give that module to the teacher and the students, for them to have this synergy that will make it more real world, right? Because a lot of times we look at school K to 12, we look at even higher ed, things are in textbook that may not be applicable,
Yep.
right? We learn a lot of theory,
Yep.
right? And financial literacy is so dynamic in a sense where if you bring that into everyday life, like making a lunch purchase, making a, uh, uh, coffee purchase, or buying snacks at break time, versus bring snacks from school, from home, where you bought things in bulk, so where you can stretch out your dollars. Those everyday life and everyday resources can be legitimized by the partnership that exists, that already there are people in place. And I think I was just so excited when we did this legislation in 2023 was that there were so many of Scott's counterpart that came to me and go, we're ready. We've been ready. We want to partner with the school district. We want to partner with the state to make sure that this is a two-way street. Because we don't want people to come to us when they're just only in trouble, right? That's too late.
Yep.
We want them to come in when they're just learning how to use money, what savings is, what credit cards mean, and give these teacher a much more livable tools versus theory.
Silver State Schools Credit Union has partnered with the UNLV Alumni Association to launch the Rebels Forever Affinity Card Program. Whether you choose our debit card, low-rate credit card, or 2% cashback credit card, you won't just rep the Rebel spirit. You'll support it by giving back with every swipe at no cost to you. Learn more at silverstatecu.com/rebelsforever. All right, so we're having this great conversation. I would love for us to jump into kind of maybe the opportunity that our state has. And when we talk about what that could look like in the future, what opportunities exist to strengthen financial education across Nevada? And I'm going to let both of you answer if you have something of what do you see?
Are you to the boss?
Oh, yeah, no, it's fine. From my perspective, I think there's a lot of opportunities, and sometimes they start at home too. And I'll just talk about from a credit union perspective. We have a balance program, and a lot of people don't know about this program, but it is free of charge to any credit union member, and it's something that we offer that banks don't. And I'm speaking as an ex-banker too. And quite frankly, it's one of the best things since spilt milk. It's a program where you can create a budget, and it's all anonymous. To our members, they have no idea. It's not going to be shared at all to the credit union. But it's a complete budget. It's complete accounting for how they do their daily spend. They get credit counseling. They can do anything that they want to. It's all free of charge. And it's something that I think is just one of the best things I've ever seen. And we've been seeing its praises, I think, for almost the whole 18 years that I've been in credit unions. It's a vendor of choice that I've liked to choose. And then I like to say, just from, and this is selfish saying, the work that you and Bree are doing, Assemblyman, I don't know if you know this, but these two have done this school year 400 financial literacy courses to parents, to teachers, and to students across the district. And I think that's just a fantastic effort. And it's something that I dreamt of when I came here. I like you, I've always had a passion for this financial literacy and how important it is. And, we have to have those opportunities. And again, sometimes they start at home, sometimes, and then it does start at home too. That's why we think it's so important that we teach our parents what's going on, because I think there's an assumption that parents automatically have all the answers. I grew up in a blue collar house. We didn't have a lot. We didn't have a lot of money. McDonald's once a month was a big treat for us. And my parents didn't teach us financial literacy, much like yours. And sometimes it had to come the hard way. Now, I had kind of an eye for that, but my brother and sister didn't necessarily think of money in the same aspect that I did. I've always been a saver, for example. And so I would have given anything to have had my parents teach me some lessons that they had learned along the way. I remember their first house and everybody gives me a bad time because I remember way back when. I'm 66 years old, but I remember way back when I was 2 or 3, my parents got into the house that they lived in for, I think we were there for 14 years, and it was an 18% mortgage rate. And I cannot imagine, everything's relative. The cost of the value of the dollar, the cost of everything. at the time that you have it, and to understand that they were paying an 18% mortgage, while in today's terms, a lot of us are paying a 3 or 3.5 because we were lucky enough to refinance it during this last boom. I got to tell you, I don't think my parents received any training from their parents either, too. So it's like a spiraling effect. And so again, it really does start at home. But you talked about partnerships earlier on too, and the more people that become interested and impassioned, as you and I are about this whole thing, and I know that you are. That goes without saying. Then this is going to grow even further. So I think that's the great opportunity in front of us.
This is a tough question. There's so many ways to answer this one, but I can say that we gotta make sure that we recalibrate the conversation. Our state is growing so fast in a sense that we have to get caught up in terms of our infrastructure, in terms of our roads and schools, and there's so many things that is happening along with this, right? But at the same time, the generations coming up is in that fast sense is don't they don't really think about the long term, right? And right now everything is short term, everything is fast, and they want that instant gratification, right? And I think that is some of the slippery slope that we're going down, and I want us to bring it back to long-term planning, right? As Scott was going back in the days where we have very, very hard financial choices. And now where the financial tools at the palms of our hands, and it's so easy to execute it, bad decisions can be made if they don't have the right information. And so we need to figure out how to truly go back to that conversation about long-term planning, right? Because everybody now, all the young people, or the young at heart people, are living paycheck to paycheck, literally, right? And home ownership is so far out of reach for many. It's because that financial education of learning the cost and the benefit. And so if you're going to go and pursue this passion of you doing whatever it is career that you want to choose, right? And you don't have this income that you're building, or you don't have a nest that you're building, how can you go and purchase a house? So then everybody become a renter. In my district, there's a lot more apartments up now because folks cannot buy houses anymore, but they just rent. But they don't know that they need to continue to build for their future, and put that nest away, so that if and when they want to make a decision to go into home ownership, that they're not completely have to make a difficult decision just because they didn't plan ahead. So there's the rapid growth is one thing, but for us, that are passionate about this topic, we need to continue to kind of set up those guardrails so that folks know that, yes, you can make these decisions, but these are the costs of why those decisions will cost you. Because you can go and learn about, the cost of living through budgeting, right? But if you keep going on jumping from job to job, for example, right? Because these days a lot of folks don't like to stay anywhere long because they want to go through their explorative career. They want to try different things, which is awesome, right? But the downside of that is that you're not building stability, and sometimes it will give you this difficulty if you want to change your life and be able to provide stability and provide resources for yourself and your family. So I think my legislation was in a way accidental because I was going down the street and talking to my constituent in my district when I first ran in 2022, and this neighbor was not even on my list of talking to, and I was actually talking to his neighbor, but his neighbor wasn't home, And he pulled me over. He's like, "Hey, what are you doing? Like, why are you looking around this neighborhood?" And I'm like, "I'm just going talking to, my voters about, I'm running for assembly, and I want people to know about who I'm about." And turns out he is a retired Wall Street broker,
Oh wow.
right? And he moved to Nevada from New York, and he has young kids. He has 3 young kids, and he tells me that, "Yui, I don't know why the school is not cooperating with me because I'm teaching them at home, and I'm teaching them these basic skills, and they just laugh at me, and they don't take it seriously because the school doesn't corroborate what I'm teaching them." So they're like, "Well, Dad, you don't know what you're talking about," even though he knows what he's talking about, right? He's a Wall Street broker. So that's where the legislation came from. It's because if we don't put that topic as a requirement, then young people will just brush it aside and say, I don't need it. I'll figure it out. When I'm in trouble, I'll figure it out, right? And that's too late. And I think there is that sense of making sure we completely be very, very transparent about the needs of our young people and where they're going and what we can do to help them. Because, we don't want people to fall into these predatory practices or these situations where they had to go use payday lending because they made a bad decisions. And so I know bad decisions are still being made, but how we can continue to tell people that it's okay, whether you're, in first grade or you're, in your 70s, you can still learn a few things or two about how some of these new tools can help you, right? Or even the old tools. Don't get me started on checks because I gave a staff of mine, and he knows I'm talking about him if he's listening to this. He is a um, top of class graduate, right? Getting a master from a very prestigious school. And gave him a check to write for someone to do a payment. He handed it back to me 5 hours later. I don't know what to do with this, right? So we often forget that we assume that because people are doing well in school and they're, getting this scholarship and they're getting this degree, that they know about the basics. That taught me there that no, the basics are not taught anymore. You just, you know, if you stop assuming that, then we will get better results.
Yeah, no, I love that. Checks are still a thing, right?
Mm-hmm.
And you must know that, especially with the younger generation. Definitely for everybody who uses AI. I use chat every single day, but I still have to learn the basics. I still have to know that they exist because, those are just, all those soft skills and just, learning how to talk to people, shake people's hands, those things still exist. So as a state, we want to, play catch up and actually get ahead of the game. If we do the basics, that is something that step by step, building this thing brick by brick, we'll be the leaders, we'll be the trailblazers. And I love that, we are having this conversation, an ongoing conversation that we want to have, that we hope that you're also having with us. Real quick, if you're listening to this and thinking, students need to hear this, we got you. At Silver State Schools Credit Union, we offer free K-12 financial literacy workshops and hands-on experiences that help students understand money in real life. Tap in with us online or inside the branch and bring it to your school. All right, let's get back into the episode. All right, fellas, we've had an amazing episode, but I know you're a super busy man. So we have what we like to call our seeds of wisdom. So this is that, part of the program where we want you to share maybe one nugget, one seed of wisdom that you haven't already shared to families, to parents, perhaps students, our community, maybe our state. We're going to start off with our guests. If there's something that you maybe want to elaborate or just give us that last token of information that we could take away.
Whew. Politician in one thing. I don't want that's the answer if impossible. I want to remind everyone listening and everyone out there is that Nevada is one of the few states left in the country where we're a citizen legislator, right? And what does that mean? We are in the community. We live and work in the community. And, every other year we have the privilege of being able to go to Carson City and come up with solutions to help our community, right? So we're not full-time politician as people say we are. However, we are full-time responsible for continuing the common sense policies that will help our community grow and thrive. And that is something that financial literacy is just one part of this conversation that we need to continue to have, because as we look into, increasing our education investment, increasing into our healthcare investment, increasing into the workforce training here, all of that ties together, has everything to do with the financial education, right? For us to be able to understand how money works and how the money moves, even as, assembly member, my number one duty that is defined by the Constitution of Nevada is that we're there to fund education. That is our number one goal, right? And so education is important to us, and education is the foundation of life. So we want Nevadans to know that this is not a one and done. And if anyone go out there and trying to sell you like, hey, I'm going to fix everything in one election or one session, well, I like to see them try, right? Because I think that as a parent, as a employer, and as a small business owner, and in the nonprofit sector myself, I see that we need to make sure that our solution is not going to create 10 more problems, right? Our solution needs to go back to the basics and create a sense of confidence in our citizens and in our community. Because for people to understand that this is a basic that they need to have so that they can fulfill whatever it is that they want to do, right? If they can grasp this concept of financial literacy and continue to fine tune it, then everything is and the sky is the limit, right? There's no limit anymore, because we giving them this tool that will be with them for life. So, my legislation in the 2023 session was for high school student, right? You cannot get a high school diploma until you complete a course in financial literacy. Last session in 2025, I did that with the higher education system, where I encouraged our Nevada system of higher education to add it into the general ed curriculum in all of our colleges and universities. And then, when I get sent back to Carson next year, I hope to even expand that into vocational school, apprenticeship schools, any educational outlet in our entire state. If you're giving someone a certificate or you're giving someone a skill set to do something within the state to monetize it, we need to add that financial curriculum in there so that they know that you need to make sure you invest in this knowledge so that it will be with you for life and will help you. And that is something that I will continue to do. I look forward to the partnership with, Scott and his team and all of his colleagues in the financial institution to say, hey, you know what? We're not here for sound bites. We're not here just to talk about what we do. We are doing it, and we're going to continue to do it. And I think that's important. People know that we have lifelong partnerships, and that's how we can continue to go up.
That's a great question, and not an easy one, because it's a big subject to be sure. Just like you said, it's I think of it from, I guess my nugget would be that we have to rally behind this and keep the pressure going. What we talked about, I think, ad nauseum here is that everybody needs to be involved in this effort. And you can't make assumptions too. It's the parents have to be involved. They have to know what to teach their children. And And the other thought process is don't ever be embarrassed. Learning's a lifelong thing. We pick up books all the time, and I learn something new from a book. That's no different than mathematics or financial literacy. It doesn't matter where you learn it or when you learn it. It's how you learn it, and that it sticks with you. And so that's just the importance of financial literacy and financial wellness. And so I guess it's just keep the rally going, keep it the pressure on, and I think we'll all win in the end. And just remember, it's again, it's not. There's no age requirement to financial literacy either. Heck, I was going to be a teacher myself, and I was teaching first grade class. This is English literature because I was going to be an English literature major, but I was teaching them prepositional phrases. That's first graders, and they got it. They understood what a prepositional phrase was, and that talks about, I think, the learning that we all do, and how kids big and small can get this, and we've just got to keep it in front of them all the time. So,
yes. So you all have heard that, education is a lifelong thing. It is a gift. This thing is for all of us. So if I can kind of tie it to what we're saying, we really want you to have that confidence when it comes to financial literacy. And that confidence is coming through that financial education. It's about having an opportunity. You've heard Assemblyman Nguyen talk about like what the opportunity of Nevada has. We want you to understand that and to be prepared for this opportunity. We are still kind of building this plane as we fly it, if you will. We want you to invest into yourselves, to take that ownership and that pride, because this thing isn't going to happen just with the three of us, right? We're going to need you who are watching and listening to this, because it can be built together. So we want you to continue to keep learning, keep growing, and keep investing into yourselves and into each other. All right, this has been a pretty dope episode. I want to say thank you to the gentlemen that I have on my left and my right. We couldn't have done this without you. So thank you again for taking time out of your busy schedule, as well as Scott. We really appreciate y'all. What you could do is, you already know, we want you to like, subscribe, share, and comment. We can't do this Financial Seeds podcast without y'all. So please do all the things. And if you're on social media, I know we talked a little bit about social media on here. Follow us on all of our social media accounts. We are there. We want to see you show up and support us. And please share this episode with at least 10 people y'all know. If you live in this state, you need to be listening to this. And even if you don't, if you know somebody who lives in this state, please hit them up, share this episode with them, because we are talking about you and we truly care about you. All right. For myself, for Scott A. Arkills, and also Assemblyman Nguyen, we appreciate y'all, and we will see you next week. And as always, keep planting those seeds.
The Financial Seeds podcast is powered by Silver State Schools Credit Union, hosted by Dre Westbrook, co-hosted by Brianna Chavez, produced by Jackie Martin, and recorded in the Scott A. Arkills production studio. The Financial Seeds podcast is for informational and educational purposes only and is not intended as financial, legal, or tax advice. All opinions expressed are those of the hosts and guests and do not necessarily reflect the views of Silver State Schools Credit Union. Listeners should consult with a qualified financial professional for advice specific to their individual situation.